If you're leading in public health right now, you already know the complexity is real. Policy shifts, resource constraints, communities with different and sometimes competing needs, a workforce stretched in every direction, and the expectation, often unstated but always present, that you'll not only hold things together but actually move forward. So, here's a question worth sitting with. What if the most powerful strategy tool you have isn't a framework about what's broken, what isn't working, but one that starts with what's already working? In this video, we explore how strength-based practices, and in particular, appreciative inquiry, are showing up in the latest research as a genuine foundation for strategy development and execution, especially in times of rapid change and complexity. Welcome to Spaciousness Works. I'm Stephen Reed, and this conversation is for you. Most leadership training and most strategy processes begin with a deficit lens. What's not working? What's the gap? Where are we falling short? Well, this approach has its place, but research is increasingly showing that when organizations stay stuck in problem-first thinking, especially during times of pressure, something important is lost. Creativity shrinks, engagement drops, and the people who hold the most institutional wisdom, your frontline teams, your community partners, they often go quiet because the conversation doesn't feel like it belongs to them. In healthcare specifically, a systematic review published in BMJ Open, an open access journal dedicated exclusively to publishing peer-reviewed medical research, found that appreciative inquiry produced positive outcomes across participant attitudes, behavior change, and organizational change. 23 out of 23 studies that measured at that level. That's not nothing. That is a signal. So what exactly is appreciative inquiry, or AI as it's often called? Well, it was first developed in the 1980s by David Cooperrider and Suresh Srivastava. Appreciative inquiry is both a philosophy and a practical methodology. At its heart, it's built on a simple but powerful assumption. Every organization, every team, every system has something that is already working. And when we build from that positive core rather than from a list of deficits, we generate energy, direction, and the kind of ownership that makes change actually stick. The most widely used version of appreciative inquiry moves through 4 phases, sometimes called the 4D cycle. And we start with the topic of the inquiry, where we name what we want to explore or strengthen. This is sometimes called the define phase, which makes the cycle a 5D cycle then. Anyway, from that, we move through the 4 stages, starting with discover. We actively investigate what's working at its best. Then we dream and we imagine what becomes possible if we build from those strengths. From there, we design, where we co-create the structures and strategies to get there. And destiny, or the deliver phase, we put plans into sustained, shared action. So to learn more about this process and appreciative inquiry, you can check out videos on our other playlists. What makes this different, though, from traditional planning processes is that it's generative. The questions you ask create movement. Participants aren't just consulted, they become co-authors, co-creators of the future. And for public health leaders, this is particularly powerful because the challenges you face, health equity, systems integration, workforce well-being, cannot be solved by the leaders alone. They require the intelligence, commitment, and creativity of the entire system. So let's talk about evidence, because warm ideas are one thing, but you're leaders. You need to know this holds up, right? So here's what the recent body of research is telling us. Example would be from Gallup's 2024 meta-analysis, the largest study of its kind, drawing on over 3.3 million employee survey responses across 347 organizations, found that work units in the top half for employee engagement more than double their odds of success compared to those in the bottom half. And engagement, research consistently shows, is one of the key outcomes of strength-based leadership approaches. In VUCA environments, that's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, the traditional command and control approach to strategy simply doesn't hold. A 2025 systematic review of 116 research papers on leadership agility found that digital transformation, post-pandemic shifts, and globalization are reshaping what effective leadership looks like. The leaders who navigate complexity best are those who can integrate adaptability, resilience, and the collective intelligence of their organizations. This is exactly the terrain that Appreciative Inquiry was designed for. Rather than requiring a leader to have all the answers, it creates a process through which answers and commitment to act on them emerge together. A 2024 publication from NHS Aqua titled Appreciating Health and Care documents over 16 real-world case studies of appreciative inquiry applied in health and care settings across the United Kingdom. The patterns that emerge? Teams that start from what's working tend to implement change faster, sustain it longer, and experience less burnout along the way. And in nursing research published in the Journal of Nursing Regulation, appreciative inquiry was shown to meaningfully shift nurse-to-nurse interaction, one of the most stubborn and costly challenges in healthcare culture. This tracks with our work with public healthcare in the US and globally. So what does this actually look like when a public health leader puts it into practice? Imagine you're facing a significant strategic challenge, perhaps integrating a new community mental health program or navigating a period of budget contraction. A traditional approach might begin with what's wrong, what's missing, what needs to be fixed. An appreciative inquiry approach begins differently. It might start with a question like, tell me about a time when our team navigated a complex challenge and came through it stronger. What was present in that moment? What made it possible? Those questions and the conversations they open do something important. They locate the capability that already exists. They activate memory and pride, and they give the team a foundation to build on, rather than a hole to climb out of. For your strategy process, this might look like an appreciative inquiry-based engagement process with frontline staff before any strategic direction is set, discovery interviews with community members and partners that ask about what's working in the experience of care, dream and design sessions where your leadership team co-creates priorities from a strengths foundation, and tracking and celebrating early wins, not just monitoring gaps. The strategy that emerged from this process will still be rigorous. It will still address the hard stuff, but it will be owned in a way that top-down strategy rarely is. And in public health, ownership is everything. I want to be honest with you about something. Strength-based practices, it's not about pretending problems don't exist. It isn't toxic positivity or turning away from the real and serious challenges that public health systems face. The research actually backs this up too. Some studies suggest that the most robust approach combines attention to strengths with clear-eyed awareness of what needs to improve. The magic isn't in ignoring difficulty, it's in not beginning there. When you anchor your strategy in what's already alive and working, you create the conditions for people to face the hard things together with more energy, with more trust, and with a clear sense of why it's worth trying. That's the invitation that Appreciative Inquiry extends to leaders. Not an easier path, but a more generative one. So if you're leading a public health system right now, you're already doing something remarkable. You're holding complexity, showing up for communities, and trying to build something better under real pressure. What Appreciative Inquiry offers, and what the research is now confirming, is that the strengths already present in your organization, your teams, and your communities are not just feel-good assets. They are strategic ones. They're the foundations that make strategy real, that makes execution possible, that makes people want to come back tomorrow and keep going. At Spaciousness Works, we support leaders to work from that foundation, to lead in ways that are not just effective but enlivening. If this has sparked something for you, we'd love to hear about it in the comments, or reach out to us directly. Links are in the description below. Please subscribe for more videos. Take care of yourselves and keep going.